How was your week?
It was good. I have my office work going on, keeping me busy.
I bet.
Okay. You want to share something before we jump on our reading? If you remember something or you want to recall something.
I wanted to mention to you, something about that how we were reading about how Krishna had told they named 3 people, and Manu was one in the beginning, and I forget
How
where it was at.
how the disciplic succession came down from Manu, it comes to from sun god, it comes, so Krishna spoke to sun god spoke to Manu spoke to his son Ikshvaku,
Yes.
and then so on, it got passed to different people. Yeah, so what about that? So what was
Yep.
your question about that?
Oh, I didn't have a question. I was just going to tell you that I'd read that again.
Oh,
Yes.
nice to read again and again. Maybe more goes in as we keep reading.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also shared with my class and my teacher the advice that you told me that your teacher told you about having 2 boxes, one of things you don't understand and one of things you do understand, and everybody thought that was really good. My teacher liked that.
Yeah. I still do that. There are a lot of things which I still don't understand. So I say, okay, I don't have to get overwhelmed with what I don't understand. Let me work with what I do understand.
Exactly.
And you know, I heard the same advice from my manager sometime back. I often get overwhelmed with things, and I'm like, what's all this? I don't understand. I was telling her the same thing basically. I said, I don't understand. The project has so many different aspects, this one, that one, this one. And she said, hold on, do you understand something? I said, yeah. I said, then why don't you start from there? Just do what you understand, and then we'll figure out what you don't understand later. And I was like, hmm.
That's a good boss.
So it's like Krishna telling me the same message through different people till I understand, and I integrate that in my life.
Right.
Okay, so let's see what we got today.
Okay.
Let me share. See if I can share here. Okay, we went into small boxes, and then we have this screen here.
Okay.
So we last time what we were reading is Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and this was the last paragraph we read, where we said Arjuna is describing Krishna and saying, Krishna, I accept you not as a great person, but as the supreme personality of Godhead.
Yes.
I think that's where we left off.
Okay. Yes, I think so. Mm-hmm.
So this is our next paragraph. We should start and see what we have for today.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now one may think that because Krishna was the friend of Arjuna, Arjuna was telling him all this by way of flattery. But Arjuna, just to drive out this kind of doubt from the minds of the readers of Bhagavad Gita, substantiates these praises in the next verse when he says that Krishna is accepted as the supreme personality of Godhead not only by himself, but by authorities like Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasadeva. These are great personalities who distribute the Vedic knowledge as it is accepted by all acharyas. Therefore, Arjuna tells Krishna that he accepts whatever he says to be completely perfect. Sarvam etad tam manye. I accept everything you say to be true. Arjuna also says that the personality of the Lord is very difficult to understand and that he cannot be known even by the great demigods. This means that the Lord cannot even be known by personalities greater than human beings. So, how can a human being understand Lord Sri Krishna without becoming his devotee?
Okay. You want to share some points from this one that stood out for you?
Um, just I like the fact they said that since demigods cannot even understand the Lord Krishna, that how can we expect ourselves to understand being less than demigods? Obviously,
Hmm.
so kind of like cutting. It makes me feel like I can cut myself some flack for like not knowing everything, not understanding completely.
Yeah. So it's okay to not understand, basically, they're saying,
Okay,
right?
thank God.
Do you know, have you read the term demigods before?
Yes.
Okay.
So, well, well, can you remind me? Wait, how would you define what a demigod is?
This is how I explain my 10-year-old niece. She asked me one day,
Mm,
said, "What's demigod?" Because she was hearing that term for the first time, and we were reading something like this, and she was asking me, "What's demigod?" And I didn't know how to explain her. So I said, "In your school, there is a principal." She said, "Yeah." And I said, "There are teachers." She said, "Yeah." Said, "So teacher comes to your school, to your class to teach you, and principal is somebody who governs all the teachers. So whatever principal of the school sets the guidelines, all the teachers follow.
mm,
Meaning the class starts at this time, the class is for this many minutes or whatever.
mm-hmm.
So she said, "Yeah, that's how it happens." Then I said, "Okay, so in this picture now you put Krishna as the principal. So Krishna defines everything that happens in the universe, but all the affairs of the universe are conducted by the demigods. So there is a demigod for sun. He takes
Mm,
care of sun rising on time. There is a demigod for moon. He takes care of the moon. There is a demigod for seasons, because in the universe there is a lot happening, right?
mm-hmm.
And so there
Mm-hmm.
are 33 million demigods,
Oh
Prabhupada.
my gosh. Wow.
So they take care of the affairs of the universe, but then they are doing it for Krishna.
Okay.
So Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead who is guiding them of what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and then they just take the orders from Krishna and then they execute the orders.
Okay.
And they get the empowerment to do whatever they are doing from Krishna.
Okay.
So, so they are in a different category. If you see, they are very powerful because they give. It is also said all of our senses, our eyes, hands, legs, whatever movements, whatever activities we can do with our senses, each sense is being governed by a particular demigod.
Oh, okay.
So they are very powerful personalities, and we need to respect them, but worship goes to Krishna because he's the ultimate person from whom everybody is receiving everything.
Okay.
So here Arjuna is saying even demigods who are like the order carriers of Krishna, they don't understand Krishna fully. So then how do we human beings who are being assisted by the demigods to carry out our day-to-day activities, how can we understand Krishna who is like we have not even seen him?
Right.
So Arjuna is saying, how can one understand without becoming his devotee? So he's
Mm-hmm.
giving us like a clue that hey, if you want to understand Krishna, become his devotee.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's difficult or impossible becomes easy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, should we
Okay.
go to the next one?
Sure.
Okay. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken up in the spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality or even a great personality. Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So, according to the statements of Bhagavad Gita or the statements of Arjuna, the person who is trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita, we should at least theoretically accept Sri Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. And with that submissive spirit, we can understand Bhagavad Gita. Unless one reads the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it is very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita because it is a great mystery. So,
I would think it would um, go without saying that. I mean, the reason that you and I are here are because are we're in the spirit of devotion and we want to learn. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. You
true.
know.
Yeah. And then there's always room for improvement. We have it,
Mm.
and then we can strengthen it more and more and more by being with others who have it. So
Mm-hmm.
a group activity helps in the sense that we share and we learn from each other and we grow, we build on what we already have.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, we do have spirit of devotion and we are trying to understand. And he's saying we can read in a submissive spirit. And I was thinking submissive meaning like he's saying at least accept theoretically that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead.
Mm-hmm.
One may have doubts, one may not agree to it, but then if one is coming with an open mind to say
Mm-hmm.
okay, let me see what's in there, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Let me read further and find out.
Yes.
So at least be there with an open mind, try to understand because it's a
Mm-hmm.
great mystery. And I was thinking, well, he's saying it's a great mystery. It's like somebody who created the universe, he himself is speaking.
Mhm.
And sometimes when we join a course in a college, the teacher speaks, and one of my teacher would speak in my college, and I would feel, my gosh, what is this guy speaking? I just don't understand anything. I don't understand anything of anything, because the subject was so complicated. It was like computer networking. And
Mhm.
he would talk about different wires and different kinds of wires, and how to form a circuit and all this high technical stuff. And I was like, man, I want to get out of here. I don't understand anything. So so our teachers, they surely have a very, what I could say, they are more learned than we are,
Mhm.
and their level of understanding is way higher than ours. And so, what to speak of Krishna, who is the creator of this universe, who created this whole gigantic thing, and who also created us, tiny living beings in that gigantic thing. And then we operate thinking, oh, I am the creator, I can do stuff.
Right.
So that person is speaking. And what's our ability to even grasp something out of it? We are very tiny in this whole big universe, and then the creator of the universe is speaking.
Right.
So it's a big mystery, and so Arjuna is helping us to, to cultivate our heart in such a way that we traverse through this mystery, so we get something out of it. We try to understand as much as we can.
Yes. So we're still in the introduction, right? Of we haven't even begun.
No,
I'm.
introduction.
I'm just make. I'm just.
Introduction's 30 pages. Will be introduction for some time.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, I was pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it will take us a while to finish introduction.
Okay. Yes, I'm glad for it because I don't know hardly anything.
I
So.
don't know anything either. The more I read, I feel, oh, I never knew this. Something from the I don't know box pops up, and then it wants to go in the I know box.
Oh. Okay, should I go on?
Sure.
Okay. Just what is the Bhagavad Gita? The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to deliver mankind from the nescience of material existence. Every man is in difficulty in so many ways, as Arjuna was in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna surrendered unto Sri Krishna, and consequently this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Not only Arjuna, but every one of us is full of anxieties because of this material existence. Our very existence is in the atmosphere of non existence. Actually, we are not meant to be threatened by non existence. Our existence is eternal, but somehow or other we are put into a sat. A sat refers to that which does not exist. That was very confusing,
Yeah,
sort of.
lot of new things got introduced. So, what's the first thing that confused you? Let's start from there.
Okay, well, I never heard of the word nescience, but I kind of get the context of how it was used.
Let's see what Google says about. I think it's something like a very nasty place or something.
Oh,
It says ignorance,
Oh, okay.
lack of knowledge, or awareness.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we don't have full knowledge of the material world that we live in. We don't know everything about the world we live in.
Mhm.
And it's also a little a little dark place, in the sense everything is so bewildering. If you take our present situation, the COVID,
Mhm. Mhm.
meaning nobody knew from where it came, and
Mhm.
it just popped up because some people are not cautious. One thing that I learned is it popped up because of people who eat meat, because animals carry some viruses, and people, when they eat meat, the virus that's an animal that goes into human body, and the virus is, animal bodies are made to carry viruses, but then human bodies are not built to have those kind of viruses. So
Mm.
then we carry the viruses that animals have, and then we pass on that to other human beings, and which is a threat to our life, because human bodies are not made to have animal viruses in them.
Right.
So we don't know what's good for us, we don't know what's not good for us. We go on exploring life, and we create new and new problems for ourselves. And that's
Mhm.
what the Nissan's Prabhupada is referring to. He's saying ignorance.
Mhm.
We are ignorant about how to use a human form of life. And so we think, oh, this is how everybody lives. And so this is how I live. What's That's the
Mhm.
way you live, right?
Right. Mhm.
So that's the ignorance Prabhupada is referring to. We don't know the right thing, and because we kept living our life in a particular way, now we think the way I live is the right way to live.
Yes.
So so that's the nuisance that Prabhupada is talking about.
Okay. And then the other thing that seemed hard to wrap my head around is kind of like just when he said, our very existence is in an atmosphere of non-existence.
Hmm. Even before that, you see, he's saying every one of us is full of anxiety. Could you think of some anxieties that we have?
People worry about money
Hmm.
and status and material things
Yeah.
and wanting a big house or a nice car, things like that.
And then when you have a big car, then you have to pay a big price for the gas, to fill the gas in the car.
Mhm.
And you have to earn, and then to earn, now people don't travel, but then earlier people would travel 4 hours just to go and come back from work.
And then when you get a nice big car, then you get bored and you want a nicer, bigger car, and
You keep,
cause
yeah, you,
causes anxiety. Mhm.
mm, and we feel we are increasing the comfort of life, but then we are inviting more and more troubles for ourselves.
Mhm.
And then he says, yeah, our very existence is in the atmosphere of non-existence. Mm. If you look at our lives, mm, this is one thing Prabhupada would say even in later part, but then what he's referring to is we don't want to die, we don't want to get diseased, we don't want to get old.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to get old?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Right.
But then all these things are forced upon us. Right? If I say I don't want to get old, will I not get old? Everybody has to get old,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody has to leave this world one day.
Yes.
But our desire is to live forever. Our desire is to be young and enjoy forever. So he's saying, although we don't want, there are certain things that are being forced upon us. Why? Because the atmosphere in which we exist will ever, all of it will be destroyed one day,
Mm-hmm.
and so we will be.
Mm-hmm.
So his just packing it in one simple statement, saying our very existence is in the atmosphere of non-existence. But
Mm-hmm.
then it's a very loaded sentence, and he will unpack it more and more as we move forward. But what he's referring to is, we, like he says after, actually we are not meant to be threatened by non-existence. Our existence is eternal. So eternal meaning something that does not have a beginning and that does not
Mm-hmm.
have an end.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we are eternal beings, but we are put into this material body which cannot live eternally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also a way of looking at that sentence. Our very existence is in the atmosphere of non existence. Our body will get old and we have to leave this body one day.
Yes.
But we, the soul living in this body, never dies. We continue to
Right.
exist. We take another body.
Mm-hmm.
But our existence today is in the atmosphere of non existence, which is this body. This body will perish one day, and
Mm-hmm.
we are put into this body,
Mm-hmm.
which will go away. And so we are threatened by that. If you see anybody is very scared to talk about death, they don't want to talk about death. It's very
Mm-hmm.
inauspicious to talk about dying or leaving the body.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's a fact right in our face, but we don't want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Why we don't want to see it? Because we want to live forever. and
Right.
and we don't even want to entertain the thought and the idea that one day we will leave.
We really will. Well, just speaking for my self, I kind of believe that we really will live forever, but just not in this body.
Yeah.
This is just for this life, this time. Is my belief at the moment.
Yeah, but that movement of anybody leaving us is very painful.
Oh yes. Mhm.
A friend, a family member, or acquaintance, even
Mhm.
you hear about they leaving, is painful.
Mhm. Because
And
we don't know where they've gone.
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, he's just unpacking the whole science for us. And so it looks like a very packed paragraph and a packed sentence. But that's where he's taking us. So that's where the train is going. He'll unpack it more and more as we read.
Okay.
Okay, we are at 8 o'clock. What should we do?
Oh, how long is the next one?
Let me see how long is it. Not so long. You want to read it?
Okay, or do you want to?
Sure. Uh,
Okay.
whose turn is it to read? I don't know. My turn? Yeah.
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Out of so many human beings who are suffering, there are a few who are actually inquiring about their position as to what they are, why they are put into this awkward position, and so on. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering, but rather wants to make a solution of all suffering, then one is not to be considered a perfect human being. Humanity begins when this sort of inquiry is awakened in one's mind. In the Brahma Sutra, this inquiry is called Brahma Jigyasa. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Every activity of the human being is to be considered a failure unless he inquires about the nature of the absolute. Therefore, those who begin to question why there is suffering or where they came from and where they shall go after death are proper students for understanding Bhagavad Gita.
Mm.
The sincere student should also have a firm respect for the personality of Godhead, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a student was Arjuna. So he's giving some more insight
Mhm.
into what we read before. And he's saying one has to come to the position of actually inquiring, why am I suffering?
Mhm.
Sometimes we don't even acknowledge our suffering.
Right.
Say, well, there is some pain to get some gain, and that's life all about. So what's the big deal?
Mhm.
Sometimes I have fever, sometimes I have COVID. Okay, I do some isolation, I'll be fine. I'm fine. we don't want to acknowledge that, hey, I'm getting old, I don't want to get old, one day I'll die, I don't want to die. Why am I put in this very awkward situation where I want to live forever and I will have to die?
Mm.
Why? And Prabhupada saying, when we have that kind of inquiry, then such a person is a proper student to understand Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
Because without an inquiry, if somebody's just giving you a lecture like me sitting in a computer networking class, maybe I'm not a student who is inclined to hear computer networking, and so it will be boring for me.
Right.
So maybe I was in the wrong class.
Exactly.
And so, like that, Prabhupada saying, if one does not have an inquiry, then maybe but you will never understand Bhagavad Gita.
Right. You're not going to, yeah, you have to have the hunger for the knowledge.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to receive it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so he calls it Brahma Jigyasa. So it's a Sanskrit term. Jigyasa means inquiry,
Okay.
and Brahma Jigyasa means Lord Brahma, who is a demigod who created this whole universe on Krishna's order. He is called Brahma,
Mm-hmm.
and he's saying Brahma Jigyasa, meaning inquiry to understand who created this universe, why was this universe created in the first place, why am I in this universe, and then what am I supposed to do here. So getting to know a big picture, and once I finish my business in this whole period of my lifetime, where am I, where am I going, where will I go, what's my next destination.
Mm-hmm.
So get to know a big picture. That's the inquiry. So I can function better, right? If I if I'm taking up a new job, I go find out what my company does, how old my company is, who are my company's clients, what's my job role, meaning I find out all these things so I can function better in my job.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, the same thing for us and for our life. We get to know a big picture of, okay, what's this universe all about, where did I come from, where will I go. It's when I know all these things, I can function better in this universe than I do today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The more things I move from my I don't know box to I know box, then I
Right.
I function better because I know things better now.
Exactly.
So it's okay to put things in I don't know box, but then it's also important to have a desire that someday I want to know them,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and making an effort to try to open that box once in a while and jiggle around and see, oh, what all did I put in my I don't know box.
Right. Like I forgot about that one.
So that's like exercising our inquiry muscle.
Okay. Well, I'm all right with ending for tonight if you are.
What did you say?
I said I'm okay if you want to end for tonight.
Yeah, we will end. You want to make a concluding statement, like what stood out for you from this reading before we end, if you have one.
Uh-huh. Trying to think of how to word articulate it the best.
Okay.
Um just that you in order to understand the Bhagavad Gita and understand Sri Krishna, you have to at least be open to the fact that Krishna is the supreme Godhead and have an inquiring um, mind and be a devotee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good concluding statement.
Thank you.
Okay, so take care, stay safe.
Okay.
We will meet again next week.
All right. Thank you, Seema.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.